Good morning, children. Welcome back to the social session of emerging political trends. We have learnt about the Assam agitation and Punjab agitation. And yesterday, I asked you to write down about the Punjab agitation, and you people have written about the separate state movement. But this movement which we have discussed was relating to the Akal Takht, and it's a militant movement. And you know, children, we have been discussing about the Khalistan, a separate Sikh dominant state they have demanded, and Akali Dal's demand was for a more share in the army recruitment and even for a more share of water from the Bakranangal dam was the demands of the Akali Dal. And the relationship between the center and the state, okay, that was the demands of the Akali Dal. But this Khalistan movement is a military movement, militant movement, and which has turned out to be a very violent movement. That is what I asked you to write down about. So do not please copy it from the internet or from other sites and write down makki ki makki. Okay. So please read out before you write down. Even people like Khalid and Nasir also, you have copied as it is from the internet, okay, sources, and you have written it. But I tell you, read the answer before you write, whether it is related to the question which we have given. Okay, I asked you to write down about the militant movement in Punjab. And today we move on to the new political initiatives and new initiatives which have been taken over, which have been taken by the Rajiv Gandhi. And you know, children, in 9th class, while reading about the Sri Lankan issue, about democracy and evolving idea, about the Sri Lankan issue, we discussed about LTTE, Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam के बारे में पढ़े थे हम, आपको याद है? And this LTTE is a militant organization, it's a terrorist organization which fought for a separate Tamil state with more autonomy in Sri Lanka. Okay, because northern Sri Lanka is dominated by the Tamilians, whereas the majority of the people in Sri Lanka are Sinhalese, and there was a conflict between these two groups. It is a minority group and that is a majority group, and there was a conflict for the past 30-40 years that has turned out to be a terrorist organization which has spread the violence in Sri Lanka. So this LTT group and connection with Rajiv Gandhi I wanted to mention here now. When I speak about Rajiv Gandhi's issue, Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister of the country after the sudden death of Indira Gandhi. Why Indira Gandhi was assassinated? Already you know the story. It was because of the Punjab agitation, where the militants have occupied the Golden Temple in Amritsar, and in order to clear these militants from the Golden Temple from their occupation, so immediately she has ordered for Operation Blue Star. So Operation Blue Star is the reason for the assassination of Indira Gandhi. Later, Rajiv Gandhi has become the Prime Minister of this country. So under the new Prime Minister, under the era of Rajiv Gandhi, the Congress won an unprecedented victory in the elections. Rajiv Gandhi even began a peace initiative in Punjab, Assam and Mizoram, and also in the neighboring country of Sri Lanka. Why he need to unnecessarily interfere into the Sri Lankan issue? This is where he has written his own death history. He interfered into the peace process of the Sri Lanka. In order to bring peace into Sri Lanka, he wanted to help that neighboring country. So that was also a reason. So for its obligation, with his obligation and promise, India has sent army to maintain peace between the warring parties, that is separatist Tamilians and Sinhalese government there. But this turned out to be a misadventure, as it was not accepted either by the Tamilians or the Sri Lankan government. And the force was finally withdrawn in 1989. So immediately the Indian army has come back from the Sri Lanka, because Sri Lankan government was not happy, and even the Tamilians, that means Tamil Nadu government and Tamilians were also not happy here, because these Tamilians of Tamil Nadu and the Tamilians of Sri Lanka felt that they are the brothers. So why the Indian government is interfering into their issue, they thought, and they were not happy. So that misadventure was withdrawn in 1989. The force was called back in 1989. But before 1989, Indian army has made a big sketch in Sri Lanka, where they have tried to catch Prabhakaran, the LTT chief. Prabhakaran was narrowly escaped, but the number 2, that means the second leader, was attacked and he was killed in that misadventure. And then only they have taken a promise to kill Rajiv Gandhi for the death of their second leader. So Rajiv Gandhi realized that despite all the attention to development in the country, much of it did not reach to the real beneficiaries. In his famous speech, Rajiv Gandhi said that out of every rupee being spent on the poor, only 15 paisa reaches them. So that was a very big speech he made, in which he told very clearly that corruption in India is in such a way that अगर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट 1 रुपये बेचती है बेनिफिशियरी के लिए, गरीब लोगों के लिए, देन उन लोगों के पास आया तक वो काली 15 पैसा मिलती है. 1 रुपये भेजे तो बाकी 85 पैसा जो है वो ऑफिशियल्स कहा जा रहे, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, पॉलिटिशियंस कहा जा रहे, केवल 15 पैसा जो है वो रीच हो रही बोल के बोला. So the benefit was not reaching the poor due to the widespread corruption in the officialdom and because of many problems, and the fact that most people who had been poor or marginalized, including women, Dalits, tribals, were not getting access to the fruits of development. So India, after 50 years, even though large scale development has taken place, but at the core level, at the bottom level, it is not reaching to the beneficiaries. He also realized that there is a need to be a sea change in the way things were being done. So Rajiv Gandhi felt that the best way to do this was to ensure that participation of the masses of people in governance by activating the Panchayat Raj institution. So what are these Panchayat Raj institutions and the rise of communalism? We'll see in the next class, student. Thank you.